Jai Saparika Shri Shri Guru Gaur Chandraju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhanju Ki Jai. Jai Om Viśvarūp Paramahamsa Pari Vrajaka Astu Tersata Shri Śrīman Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Viśvarūp Paramahamsa Pari Vrajaka Astu Tersata Shri Śrīman Śrīla Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai, welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission morning class. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Chita Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaiṣṇavamscha. Do you have the microphone? Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Jai. Today is, of course we know it is Viśvarūp Mahotsav, and this is the last day of this extremely auspicious, unbelievably auspicious month, which includes so many festivals, and the last of which, of course, are the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and the appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami Vamandev appearance day, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day, and this appearance day of Haridas Thakur yesterday, and concluding with Viśvarūp Mahotsav. And Viśvarūp was, of course, we know, the elder brother of Mahaprabhu, and he is also an expansion of Lord Balaram. So Nityananda Prabhu and Viśvarūp are one and the same person, but in different relations, showing different relations with the Lord. So when Nityananda Prabhu would come to the home of Śrīmati, she just treated him exactly like a son. And Viśvarūp was, he would go to Shantipur regularly and sit with Advaita Prabhu and all the devotees and discuss Krishna consciousness. And sometimes Madhushachi would send Mahaprabhu. So there's Viśvarūp and Vishwambar. Those are the two sons of Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi. And Viśvarūp going to Shantipur to join with the Vaiṣṇavas in discussions about the Lord, although he was a young man. And Shachi Devi would send sometimes Mahaprabhu to go and fetch him to come home and have his dinner. So when Mahaprabhu would go to the house of Advaita Prabhu as a young boy going to get his brother, they were all amazed by his transcendental beauty. And he had not yet begun his divine pastimes. Exactly. Of course, he was showing transcendental miracles at all times in his home, in his youth, but they are not known to the world in general. But anyways, as Viśvarūp grew up a little, as is the custom of the time, Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Devi are thinking how he will marry. And so they're consulting with different... they were very careful about marriage in those days. It was done in a very, you could say, scientific way. That the girl and the boy would be matched according to astrology and, according to their position in the varnashram. So many things were considered, and they were considering all these things. Viśvarūp couldn't stand it. He couldn't tolerate that. He had no intention of becoming married. So he left home. He left home and he took sannyas. I forget his sannyas name. Sorry about it. I forget now. But anyways, then he just disappeared. And that was very heartbreaking for the parents. But later on, when Mahaprabhu was traveling, he found out that Viśvarūp had disappeared from the world. But he had been a sannyasi and traveling, wandering around. And this is the day of his, we're calling Mahotsav, celebrating and remembering the divine qualities of Lord Balaram, who came in this form to assist in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. And then, of course, when Mahaprabhu wanted to take sannyas, he didn't say anything, actually. He made that decision. But Shachi Devi felt it. She felt, he's leaving, he's going to go, just like his elder brother. He will leave. And that apprehension, that of separation, it is always there in the Lord's pastimes. That feeling of, he belongs to another, meaning he is going to dedicate himself to this high work. He's going to leave. He's going to leave us. And so, and then of course Mahaprabhu did leave. But anyway, this is a remembrance of Viśvarūp Prabhu that we want to end this long, we don't want to end it, but this is the conclusive festival in this great month of festivals, including Janmashtami, Radhastami, Baladev's appearance day, so many wonderful festivals. And there are more coming up in this coming month as well, of course. So, wanted to try to remember this pastime of Viśvarūp Prabhu and, always looking for their great blessings upon us for our own protection in our spiritual progress. We have come to an incredibly fine line. It's extremely fine because it is approaching the Absolute. It is approaching Kṛṣṇa. And so we want to be protected, use our own discrimination to keep to this fine path and not be wandering around out of curiosity. Otherwise we're going to find ourselves lost. And so Srila Guru Maharaj says, there is theism. Theism is good. And then there is Vaiṣṇavism, finer. Then there is Gaudiya Vaishnavism, coming from Mahaprabhu. And then there is Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Maṭh. Finer, and finest. The finest conceptions are coming from Srila Guru Maharaj. Srila Saraswati Thakur made that very clear, that he was the holder of the Rupanuga line. And then Srila Guru Maharaj made it very clear. Gurudev is 100% representing myself. And then Gurudev also gave this person to give initiation on his behalf. So these are very important things. We have free will, we can do what we want, but we are cautioned that if you want the goal, if you want what is being offered to us in the line of Mahaprabhu and Rupa Saraswati line, you have to be careful. Don't go wandering around, even to what is called Gaudiya Vaishnavism, what to speak of anything else. So we were discussing this a little bit yesterday in Zoom with Srila Madhusudan Maharaj, who's very, very strongly holding this line. And there's some caution not to just wander around on the internet thinking that every source of something that looks like or sounds on some mundane level like the word Kṛṣṇa, that everybody's a big authority on that. AI is just a bunch of programmers. It's just a group of programmers. It's just a search engine. And they make a decision about what information they're going to put in an answer to any particular query. And it's limited to their understanding of that thing. Because they make that decision, what's going to go in there. You don't ask them about Vaiṣṇavism. Not even general Vaiṣṇavism, what to speak of Gaudiya Vaiṣṇavism or Sri Chaitanya Saraswat. We have our own website, and there's a Google search within that website, and Sri Chaitanya Saraswat.com, scsmat.com. And it searches within that website, and you can get all kinds of beautiful answers from what's been posted there, but they will be correct. Anyhow. Okay, so we'll continue reading here Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. This is the Antya-līlā Chapter 18, and we are now on verse 44. And this is rescuing the Lord from the sea. Okay, I'm going to go back a couple of verses. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vṛnda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta
Jaya Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Ki Jaya Srila Om Vishnupad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jaya. So, text 42, Swarūp Dāmodar proceeded east and others looking for the Lord on the beach or in the water. With others, looking for the Lord on the beach or in the water. The Lord was walking with them. And suddenly He's gone. He's gone. He went into the sea water by His own desire, and now they're looking for Him. Everyone was overwhelmed with moroseness and almost unconscious. But out of ecstatic love, they continued to wander here and there, searching for the Lord. This is the essence. What is the essence? Love. We have no control over the Lord. We have no control, even to the point of knowing this about the Lord or that about the Lord. Whatever we know, He can falsify. So what is the real thing? The real thing is love of God and surrender, and the rest is play. And we're trying to serve in that play and surrender to that. Even in our practicing life, that is what we are practicing. So nobody's saying, no, God cannot disappear. He's with His devotees, and therefore He's going to be acting this way and this way. No, He disappeared. No one could find Him. Are we ready for that? Dekena akajalia aishe kande jalakari hashe kande nachegai vale hari hari. Passing along the beach, they saw a fisherman approaching with his net over his shoulder, laughing, crying, dancing, and singing. And he kept repeating the holy name, Hari, Hari. Jaliyara chesta deki sabara chamatkara, Swarupa kosai kare puchena samachara. Seeing the activities of the fisherman, everyone was astonished. Swarūp Dāmodar Goswami therefore asked him for some information. Swarūp Dāmodar is perfectly intelligent. So, Kaha Jaliya Dike Dekila Ekajana Tomara Dasha Kene Kahata Karana. My dear fisherman, he said, why are you behaving like this? Have you seen someone here around here, hereabouts? What is the cause of your behavior? Please tell us. Jaliya kahe iha eka manusya na dekila jala vahite eka mritaka mora jalayaila. The fisherman replied, I have not seen a single person here, but while casting my net in the water, I captured a dead body. Bharamatya baliyami utai lunjatane mritaka dekite mora baya hailamane. I lifted it with great care, thinking it a big fish, but as soon as I saw that it was a corpse, great fear arose in my mind. Jala kashaite tara anga sparsha haila sparsha matre shebuta hridaye pashila. As I tried to release the net, I touched the body, and as soon as I touched it, a ghost entered my heart. Paye kampa haila mora netre vahe chala gadgadabani roma uttila shakala. I shivered in fear and shed tears. My voice faltered and all the hairs of my body stood up. Kiva brahma daitya kiva bhuta kahane nadyaya darshana matre manusyera paise seikaya. I do not know whether the corpse I found was the ghost of a dead Brahmin or an ordinary man, but as soon as one looks upon it, the ghost enters his body. Sarira digala tarahata panchashata ekeka hasta padatara tina hata. The body of this ghost is very long, 5 to 7 cubits. Each of its arms and legs is as much as 3 cubits long. I don't remember what a cubit is, but anyway, this is Asti sandhi chutile charmakare nadabade tahadeki pranakara nahi rahe dade. Its joints are all separated beneath the skin, which is completely slack. No one could see it and remain alive in his body. He's describing the form of this personality. All of his joints are dislocated and just, no one can look at this form and stay alive. Madarupa dari rahe utana nayana kabu gongo kare kabu rahe achetana. That ghost has taken the form of a corpse, but he keeps his eyes open. Sometimes he utters the sounds gong gong, and sometimes he remains unconscious. Sakshat, so he's thinking that Mahaprabhu's form is a dead form, but a ghost has come into it. Sakshat eke chom more paila se bhuta mui maile mora kaiche jive Śrī Putta. I have seen that ghost directly and he is haunting me. But if I die, who will take care of my wife and children? So he's really worried. He's super upset. He doesn't know what's going on. Seta bhutera kata kahana nayaya ojatani jaichon jadise bhuta chadaya. The ghost is certainly very difficult to talk about, but I'm going to find an exorcist and ask him if he can release me from it. Akaratre buli matsya mariye nirjane Bhuta preta amara nalage nushingas marane. I wander alone at night killing fish in the solitary places. But because I remember the hymn to Lord Nrsimha, ghosts do not touch me. E bhuta Nrsimha name chapaye dvigune, tahara akara dekite baya lage mane. This ghost, however, overcomes me with redoubled strength when I chant Nrsimha mantra. Even when I see the form of this ghost, great fear arises in my mind. In spite of chanting Nrsimha mantra, not only am I not protected by fear, but this ghost seems to become even stronger. Otana jayeha amini shedi tomare, tahagele se bhutalagi be sabare. Do not go there. Do not go near there. I forbid you. If you go, that ghost will catch you all. Atashuni swarupa gosai shabatattva jani, jaliyari kichukai sumaduravani. Hearing the Swarūp Dāmodar could understand the full truth of the matter, he spoke sweetly to the fisherman. Amibada oja, jani bhuta chadaite, mantra parishi hastadila tahara matate. I'm a famous exorcist, he said. You know what an exorcist is?
Yeah, someone that removes the demon from a person.
Yes. And so Swarūp Dāmodar is saying, I am a famous exorcist, and I know how to rid you of this ghost. Then he chanted some mantras and placed his hand on top of the fisherman's head. Tina chapada marikae puta palaila, payana paiha bali shushtira karila. He slapped the fisherman 3 times and said, now the ghost has gone away, do not be afraid. By saying this, he pacified the fisherman. He put his hand on the fisherman's head, chanted some mantra, slapped him 3 times. Now you'll be okay. Aka prema arebai viguna astira, baya angsha gela se haila kichudira. The fisherman was affected by ecstatic love, but he was also fearful. He had thus become doubly agitated. Now that his fear had subsided, however, he became somewhat normal. Swarupa kahe yare tumi kara bhuta jnana, bhuta nahe teho Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Bhagavan. Swarūp Dāmodar said to the fisherman, my dear sir, the person you are thinking is a ghost is not actually a ghost, but is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Right?
Right.
Prema veshe padila teho samudrera jale, tare tumi uttaila apanara jale. Because of ecstatic love, the Lord fell into the sea, and you have caught him in your net and rescued him. Taras parshe haila tomara Kṛṣṇa premodai, bhuta preta jnane tomara haila mahavai. Simply touching him has awakened your dormant love of Kṛṣṇa. But because you thought him a ghost, you are very much afraid of him. So what did he say?
Because you touched a ghost, you were very much afraid of him.
No, because he touched the body of Mahaprabhu, your dormant love of Kṛṣṇa has been awakened.
But you were afraid because you thought, some ghost had affected you. So he's saying, no, don't worry. Ebe baya gela tomara mana haila stire, tahantare uttanacha dekaha amare. Now that your fear has gone and your mind is pacified, please show me where he is. Jaliya kahe prabhure dekya chombara bara, teho nahena e ati vikrita akara. The fisherman replied, I have seen the Lord many times, but this is not He. His body is very much deformed. Swarupa kahe tarahai premera vikara ashti sandhi charehaya ati dirghakara. Swarūp Dāmodar said, the Lord's body becomes transformed in His love of God. Sometimes the joints of His bones separate and His body becomes very elongated. Shuni se jaliya anandita haila shabalanya gela Mahaprabhu re dekhaila. Hearing this, the fisherman became very happy. He brought all the devotees with him and showed them Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhumite padi ache Prabhu dirga shabakai jale sveta tanu valu lagi ache gai. The Lord was lying on the ground, His body elongated and bleached white by the water. He was covered from head to foot with sand. Ati dirga stila tanu charma natkaya durapata utanya gare ananajaya. The Lord's body was stretched and His skin was slack and hanging loose. To lift Him and take Him the long distance home would have been impossible. Adra kopina durakari shushka paranya bahir vase shoyaila valuka chadanya. The devotees removed his wet undergarment and replaced it with a dry one. Then laying the Lord on an outer cloth, they cleaned the sand from His body. Shabe meli uchakari kare na Saṅkīrtane Uchakare Kṛṣṇa nama kahena Prabhu rakane. They all performed Saṅkīrtan, loudly chanting the holy name of Kṛṣṇa into the Lord's ear. Okay, so we can stop here and then we will continue to hear now what happened after the devotees were shouting Krishna's name into the ear of Mahaprabhu out of ecstatic love for him. There's so much concern for him. They're trying to bring him from this state. Jai Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. So we know that the Lord is Swarūp. He's fully independent. He's the source of all power and influence. He's the source of all wealth, beauty, joy, knowledge, renunciation. All these things are full. They are all His. Everything and any manifestation of those in anywhere, any person or any place, they're all His. All of it. However, the relationship between the devotees and the Lord is not indifferent. The conclusion of that may seem, well, then the Lord doesn't require anything. And then that will become like Vasudeva, Sarvamiti, that kind of, or going to the Vaikuntha platform. But deeper, there feels in the heart of the devotee some necessity of doing something about the condition of the Lord. And of course, Mother Yashoda never won any type of small, atomic fraction of a moment. Is she not full of this concern for the Lord? So higher than knowledge is affection. And that is the only real connection with the Lord. If we try to connect through understanding everything about Him, we're going to go to a very wrong position. And Guru Maharaj said, those persons who think they have finished their knowledge about Kṛṣṇa, we offer obeisance from a distance. That attitude is very wrong. Kṛṣṇa has no limit, and nothing about him can be put in a box. Nothing. So if we try to approach through the mania for understanding everything about Kṛṣṇa in the sense of, okay, I've come to the end of it. Of course, we're trying to understand what our gurus are telling us, which is always concluding in service and surrender. That is Divya Gyan. That is real knowledge. That is divine knowledge coming from the heart of our gurus to our heart. But if we try to squeeze him into our intellect, it is a type of insanity. So we have to be very much on our guard about that. Not picking apart every point so that we can really, really get it. I mean, of course, we want to understand what is being given. There's no harm in asking questions. I didn't mean that. But there is a fine line between surrender and trying to develop love for Kṛṣṇa. That is the correct understanding. And outside of that, trying to understand is going to be futile. It is really actually can approach offense. So we are not, the Kṛṣṇa there's nothing about him that anyone can control. And Kṛṣṇa likes those who have not got so much knowledge about him, who have forgotten all about that. And they're approaching him with love and surrender. And then he has his full play there. He doesn't have his full play in Mathura city. He doesn't have his full play in Dwarka or Vaikuntha or Ayodhya. Because there's some knowledge mixed in there. There's certain things expected of the Lord. And he's reciprocating with that. But in Vṛndāvan, there's no knowledge. Only love and surrender is in Vṛndāvan, and everything else is play. He's fully at play there, and no one can predict what's going to happen from one moment to another. No one can. Because he's the Lord. He doesn't live according to any kind of restriction. So Guru Maharaj said, whatever we are telling the world about the Lord, all can be falsified. So what is real? Real is bhakti. Real is love and surrender. The rest is play. No restrictions at all on the Lord. Nothing. So we're practicing surrender now in our present state so that he can remove the disgusting ego that's just hanging all over us like seaweed, just hanging off of us. Like I once was driving in California, and we came across this forest, and all hanging down on all the trees was this kind of lace. It looked like, just hanging there, just covering the tree. You couldn't really see. So we got this junk hanging over us, this ego. Oh, others must think I'm very important. And I know all about Kṛṣṇa. And this is just our nature in the mundane world, but we need to become aware of it. And we'll only become aware of it through surrender. If we want light, then we have to open our eyes. We can keep our eyes closed forever. That's our free will. But we have to open our eyes, and that is called Sharanagati. What are we opening our eyes to? Krishna's will. And so if we want to just cram Kṛṣṇa, and get a handle on this subject, we're going to delude ourselves. Jai. Reckless. Guru Maharaj said, Krishna is reckless. Just do anything. Mahaprabhu as a child broke everything. Sachi Devi said something that made him angry. He just ruined the whole house. He broke all the pots with all the ingredients and everything all over the floor. And he's weeping. Mother Shati. Are we ready for that? Do we really want to practice Krishna consciousness? Are we ready that we're going to get a big slap? And by surrender think that was the most wonderful thing that could ever have happened to me? Or are we just going to do stuff and call it Krishna consciousness? I mean, with all due respect. Bhakatera prana. That is the life of devotion and the life of the devotee. Anyway, we need each other's support. This is not easy, right?
Not easy confirmed. Not easy confirmed.
Confirmed. All in favor. You're not going to find that on AI, by the way. Hare Krishna, maybe one day. She said, the search engine is already there in place on Sri Chaitanya Sāraswat, my front page. So just stick to that. It's good enough. If you want to learn how to take a nail out of a piece of cement, yeah, sure, AI. It's all very basic. It's all about matter.
It's just material energy.
Yeah. So use it for service. But don't expect a bunch of guys in some dark room programming to be able to tell you about Mahaprabhu. Text number 1 of the chapter 5 of Śrī Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Jai. Jai Sad Goswami Prabhu ki Jai Śrīla Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai Jai Śrīmatī Tulsi Devi ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Guru Gaurachandra beautiful Mahaprabhu ki Jai Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki Jai. Haribo Shri Parikshit Uvacha. Now who's Parikshit?
King Parikshit?
Yeah. So why is it saying King Parikshit Uvacha?
Because he's talking.
Yes, he is the one who is telling this Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta to his mother. And Jaimini Rishi is repeating this to King Janamejai, the son of King Parikshit. And then that all went underground and re-emerged by Sanatana Goswami. Re-emerged. He brought it out again. Brought it to light. Tatra Shri Narado Harsha Bharakakranta Sanartanam Kurude Shangato Davan Rajadanyam Parishtavan. Shri Parikshit said, Sri Narada, beside himself with joy, arrived dancing at the kingdom of the Kurus and raced into their capital city. And this was advised by? Who did he meet with previously to this? Was Hanuman. And Hanuman said, "No, I'm here in King Purushadam, and I must stay here. Ramachandra may call me, and I cannot go there. They're too familiar with the Lord. I won't understand. You go there." So Narada has now come to the capital of the Kurus. Commentary. In this chapter, the Pāṇḍavas refute Narada's glorification of them by instead glorifying the Yadus, especially Uddhava. After the annihilation of Duryodhana's army at Kurukshetra, Yudhisthira assumed his rightful throne and began ruling at Hastinapur. Thus Narada went to Hastinapur to see the Pāṇḍavas. Everybody in the same place? Understands?
Yes.
So much communication?
I'm not communicating to anyone.
Oh, you're just fixing cameras and so.
Oh no, I'm doing some several of the thumbnails for the YouTube, but I'm trying to listen.
What?
I'm doing thumbnail seva, like for the YouTube channel of the Kirtan Center.
Okay.
And I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Tasya kasyapi yagyasya yajasa vipadpatasya vamishat Kṛṣṇam anaya pasyama iti mantrayata svakai dharmarajena tangdvari tata praptam mahamunim nishamya bhratribhir matra patni vischa sahotitam. Dharmaraj Yudhisthira was just then consulting his inner circle about how to see Kṛṣṇa by bringing him on the pretext of some sacrifice or calamity. Did you hear that? Can you not do this later? Again, Dharmaraj Yudhisthira. Yudhisthira's name is Dharmaraj. And he is the son of Yamaraj, actually. So he was the emblem of Dharma, actually, Yudhisthira, in the mood of service to Kṛṣṇa. Dharmaraj Yudhisthira was then consulting his inner circle about how to see Kṛṣṇa by bringing him on the pretext, on some excuse, of some sacrifice or calamity. Let's make a calamity. Bring Kṛṣṇa here. When the king heard that the great sage was at the door, he at once stood up with his brothers, mother, and wives. Commentary. When Narada arrived dancing at the palace gate, the doorkeepers immediately informed King Yudhisthira. The king and his family at once stood up to greet Narada, even though they had been busy deliberating on how to induce Kṛṣṇa to come to Hastinapur. One idea had been to send Bhima or someone else to invite Kṛṣṇa to an Asvamedha sacrifice. Let's just do an Asvamedha sacrifice. Asvamedha sacrifices are almost impossible to do. We can't even conceive of them, or to speak of performing them. So he said, let's just do an Asvamedha sacrifice and then Kṛṣṇa will come. One idea had been to send Bhima or someone else to invite Kṛṣṇa to an Asvamedha sacrifice, but the assembly thought this wouldn't make Kṛṣṇa come soon enough because sacrifices take a long time to arrange. Nah, that won't work. A second proposal was to ask Kṛṣṇa to help defend Hastinapur from an enemy attack. Even though there was no need for another sacrifice and there was no threat of attack on the city, the Pāṇḍavas were scheming to get Kṛṣṇa's association by whatever means. In general, the Supreme Lord's devotees encountered two kinds of danger. One created by the Lord to proclaim his devotees' glories, and the other simulated by the Lord's devotees when they are intensely anxious to see him. Text 4. Sansam Brahmang Davatatu Sobigamya Pranamya Cha Savamaniya Satpite Prayatna Uvasheshita. As Yudhisthira eagerly rushed forward to meet him, Narada came close and bowed down. Yudhisthira brought him into the assembly hall with some effort, and with some effort made him accept the seat of honor. Ragya puja tamani tai purvavadravya sancharai mata svasuraneva sabrityan acharyat satan archayat satan. As others had done before, dear mother, the king brought a large assortment of items for worshipping Narada. But Narada took these items and instead worshipped your fathers-in-law and their servants. So I know I'm being too mad, sorry. So King Parikshit, speaking to his mother and saying, your fathers-in-law, meaning the Pāṇḍavas, because, Uttara was married to Abhimanyu. And the father of Abhimanyu is Arjuna. So that will be her father-in-law. But he's saying fathers-in-law, meaning all the Pāṇḍavas were her fathers-in-law. So he's saying to his mother, so instead, Narada took all the items and worshipped your fathers-in-law and their servants. So there is a competition there. Yudhisthira wants to worship Narada and Narada is worshipping them. And this is very sincerely done. Before the Pāṇḍavas could reach Narada at the door, the sage had already come close and offered his prostrate obeisances. Yudhisthira then at once arranged for paraphernalia for the worship of Narada. Although other devotees like Prahlād had also tried to worship Narada, Yudhisthira had the means to offer the opulence of royal worship. But as soon as Yudhisthira began to worship, Narada stopped him, seized the items, and used them to worship the entire Pāṇḍava household, including the servants. Parikshit Maharaj's mother, being a close relative of the Pāṇḍavas, could feel special pride in hearing this account. Divine pride. That, I'm in the family of such personalities. So Narada Muni, this is very astonishing. Narada Muni is not only a Brahmin. So the Brahmins are worshipped by the Kshatriyas, the bona fide Brahmins. The Kshatriyas are always giving them gifts and consulting with them. But Narada is the Brahmin of the Brahmins. He's the guru of the demigods. He's Deva Rishi. Among the Devas, he is the Rishi. So there's no question of him worshipping the Kshatriyas. But this is going beyond all that. Beyond all that Varnashram. Because we're dealing here, they are dealing with each other as Vaiṣṇavas. So they don't care. And not only did he worship the Kshatriyas, Yudhisthira and his brothers, but their servants. So this is this is going beyond Varnashram by a long way. And Dadati Pradigrahnati Guhyam Vakyati Puchati, all these things are coming into play. Bahunam Gaditam Teshu Kṛṣṇanugraha Vaibhavam Muhu Saṅkīrtayam Asha Binagiti Vibhushitam. Narada chanted at length the glories of the precious treasure of which Hanuman had spoken. Krishna's favor on the Pāṇḍavas. Narada accompanied his words by playing his veena. So here Narada is arriving with the words of Hanuman and playing them on his veena. His veena is independent. His veena is also a great devotee. Krishna's favor toward the Pāṇḍavas, like a vast treasure of material wealth, was precious and too extensive to measure. It like you could say, a vast treasure of the material world, meaning like the whole of the upper planetary systems. Like that. It was too much. It's immeasurable. Narada sang the glories of the Pāṇḍavas in his sweet voice, embellishing the verses of his song with accompaniment from his musical instrument, the veena. Shri Narada Uvacha Yuyam Nriloke Bhatta Bhuri Bhaga Jesham Priyo Sao Jagadishwareshwa Devo Guru Bandushu Matuleo Duta Suhre Saratirukti Tantraha. Okay, now Narada is saying, Sri Narada said, you are indeed the most fortunate persons on earth. The Lord of all lords of the universe is your dearest friend. He is your God, your spiritual master, your blood relation, your maternal cousin. He is your messenger, your well-wisher, your order carrier, and your charioteer. This is so intimate. Krishna is performing menial service to the Pāṇḍavas. So Guru Maharaj is saying, be a gentleman. Don't go barging in on the upper Leela. Go as a servant. And when your heart becomes so much that in the mood of loving slavery to the Lord, not wanting a thing in return, then the Lord will become your slave. He said, what more can you want? Do everything correctly. Go in the correct conception. Don't go barging into something you don't have any conception of. Approach as a servant. Be a gentleman, he's saying. At least be a gentleman. Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gaur Chandra Ju Ki Jai. In text 7 through 44, Narada tells of Krishna's special grace on the Pāṇḍavas. He begins in this verse by indicating the various ways the Pāṇḍavas enjoyed personal association with Krishna. So they are above Dasya Ras. We've come to Sakya Ras. And Sakya Ras is, Dasya Ras is included in Sakya Ras, but is much more intimate. But a person, someone like Hanuman is saying, I cannot mix in that. Because for him to expect the Lord to be a charioteer, this is just impossible for him. But he is still worshipping that. But it is not his mood at all. And so, in friendship, when one does something for a friend, it's just enhancing the sweetness of that relationship. And they have that relationship with Krishna. He is doing things for them. They're doing things for him. But this is very, very, this is something that we are worshipping. And not thinking at all that we are in that position. So Dasyayame. Rishastu nityam. And Sakyayame namastu. We are worshipping the mood of friendship. Sorry. Any questions about that? But this is so astonishing that Kṛṣṇa drove the chariot, and from the point of view of understanding the Lord as the Lord, we'd think, well, why didn't Arjuna stop him? Because this is their relationship. They are in the mood of Sakya. Sometimes Kṛṣṇa is carrying one of the cows, and this is much more developed and to its perfection in Vṛndāvan. But even here, this is Dwarka-līlā, but still it is existing, and it is very familiar. So, they're accepting his friendship. You give a gift to a friend, or you do something for a friend, and a friend is doing, and it is all enhancing that friendship. But this is far beyond it. So we are worshipping namastu, sakyayame, namastu, satyam. We are worshipping that and trying to practice servitude and not jumping up to some imaginary thing, but hearing in a mood of reverence, real loving reverence to such personalities. So now, in this beautiful description by Srila Sanatana Goswami, we are coming into this more familiar zone of divine service to Kṛṣṇa. This is quite a long... Well, let's just do this purport. We're going to go a little bit over time. Okay, the Pāṇḍavas' good fortune is called buddhi, virtually unlimited. Bhakti-dam, buddhi-dam. We're saying to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you've given everything, unlimited things. The word bhag means good fortune. Bhagadeyam, and it also means worship, bhajanam. In this verse, buddhi bhaga means the Pāṇḍavas' worship of Kṛṣṇa is exceptionally exalted. Another meaning of bhaga is part. The Pāṇḍavas enjoy a small share of the Lord's special favor, since the Lord has many other devotees besides them. But even that small part of his favor is beyond measure. Although the Pāṇḍavas are richly endowed with love and compassion for one another and for all creatures, the prime focus of their love and affection is Sri Kṛṣṇa, the son of Devaki. If we want to have love for others and we leave Kṛṣṇa out of that, it's just fake. It's not. Real love must be in relation to the Lord. And so Yudhisthira had to become the emperor. A devotee must be the leader of the world. Not that we're going to get into politics. Don't even think about it. But if there is a real leader, he must be a Vaiṣṇava. Then his compassion is full. Everything is full. He's non-different from the Lord. He is manifested as the Lord. And in the scriptures, it is said, even in the Western scriptures, that the king is a representative of God. But that doesn't mean that because a dork becomes a king, that he's the representative of God. It means that a person who is the representative of God, he is qualified to become a king. Everything tries to take a material form in this plane. The Pāṇḍavas are exceptionally fortunate because the same Kṛṣṇa, who is the sole object of their love, is the supreme controller of all the lords of the universe. Brahma, Rudra, and the other demigods, the Pāṇḍavas not only love Kṛṣṇa as their friend, but also worship him as their eternal master and protector. He is their spiritual master, guiding them in all matters of life. He becomes one of their family members, specifically on their mother's side, because, okay, a little bit of background here. So how is Kṛṣṇa their relative on their mother's side? So, Kṛṣṇa is the son of Vasudeva, right? And Vasudeva is the brother of Kunti. And Kunti is the mother of the Pāṇḍavas. So this is the setting of the historical Leela.
Who's the father?
Vasudeva. What?
No, but who's the...
Pandu.
Oh.
Pandu, remember?
Right, okay.
Pandu married Kunti and Madri. So they're called the Pāṇḍavas because they're the sons of Pandu. Well, some of them are. Actually, none of them is the son of Pandu. But they are in his will. As his will, as the will of Pandu manifested, these children were born. These 5 sons. 2 from Madri and 3 from Kunti. But Kunti was always... But anyhow, he becomes one of their family members as the sister, is explained here, as the sister of Vasudeva, Krishna's father, both of them being children of King Surasena. And maternal cousins are normally affectionate to one another. So both Kunti and Vasudeva are the children of Surasena, King Surasena. So they're brother and sister. So now I've got to just keep reading. Kṛṣṇa sometimes becomes the Pāṇḍavas' messenger. For example, they once sent him to Hastinapur from the city of Upaplava in the kingdom of Virata to convey a message to Duryodhana's court. Kṛṣṇa is also the Pāṇḍavas' well-wisher, Suhrit, their unmotivated benefactor who never expects any reward for his services. And sometimes he drives Arjuna's chariot as he did during the Battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna said, Senayor upayor madhye ratang stapaya mechuta. O Achyuta, please draw up my chariot in the midst of both armies. O infallible one. On such occasions, Kṛṣṇa obeys the Pāṇḍavas' orders without question. This is, thus Kṛṣṇa is called Ukti Tantra, subordinate to the words of his pure devotees. In a broader sense also, all of Kṛṣṇa's dealings with the Pāṇḍavas display his eagerness to submit himself to their control. He's relishing this. Lord Narayan is the controller. He is God. He is Bhagavan. He is the supreme source of all things. He knows everything. He controls everything. He's all power, all wealth, all knowledge, all renunciation. And he's being worshipped. But again, he's subordinate to the words of his pure devotees. He's eager. He likes this relationship more. They forget he's Bhagavan. He's their intimate friend. This implies the other ways Hanuman had mentioned to Narada, that Kṛṣṇa helps the Pāṇḍavas, his standing guard for them at night, and so on. Ukti Tantra is also a polite synonym for the word sevaka, servant, which Narada may have considered an unsuitably discourteous word for describing Lord Kṛṣṇa. Very fine things. Choosing the correct word, not to disturb the divine feelings of those in different relationships. All these relationships between Kṛṣṇa and the Pāṇḍavas are pervaded by intimate affection. For the Pāṇḍavas, Kṛṣṇa is the eternal object of worship, but more than that, he is their eternal friend. Arjuna and his brothers also worship demigods like Lord Shiva and spiritual masters like Drona. But the Pāṇḍavas' worship of Kṛṣṇa is unique because it comes forth from unalloyed prema. So here, Srila Sanatana Goswami is describing, you may see that Kṛṣṇa is also there. I mean, the Pāṇḍavas are also doing different kinds of puja. But don't be fooled. This is all just because it is their duty as Kshatriyas. But Kṛṣṇa's worship, that is spontaneous. Any questions? All right. Haribol. Jai Śrī Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta ki jai. Srila Sanatana Goswami ki jai. Haribol. Any questions we can have after Kirtan if there's any question online? Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopa Govindaram Śrīmadhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Radham Shri Shri Guru Gaura Chandra Ju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Giraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakkhak Sridhardev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Caitanya Saraswat Maṭh Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Sannyasi Vrinda Ki Jai. Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Śrīman Mahāprabhu Ki Jai. Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Jai Shri Viśvarūp Mahotsav Ki Jai. Jai, this whole previous month of almost unlimited festivals Ki Jai. Jai Śrīmatī Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Shri Caitanya Saraswat Maṭh Ki Jai. We have to understand ontological Siddhanta. What is Shri Caitanya Saraswat Maṭh? And why are we saying Ki Jai? What is that? And that has to be preserved very carefully. Anyway, Kṛṣṇa knows. But we have to really understand these points. There is Gaudiya Vaishnavism and then there is Shri Caitanya Saraswat Maṭh. Hari Bol, Abhichintra Beda Bed Siddhanta Prakash. Now, simultaneously one and different from this beautiful Siddhanta. Alright then. Shri Caitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai, Kol Kartal Ki Jai, Harinam Saṅkīrtan Ki Jai, Samaveda Vaiṣṇava Mandala Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. Jai Gurudev Ki Jai. Any question online or comment?
Hugh is asking, are any copies of the sermons of the Garden of Devotion available?
It's online.
It's online, but maybe he wants it physical.
We
He
can.
said, if so, if available, how much, please?
Okay.
Thank you again, both Śrīmatī Śrī Lekhā Dīdī and Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission.
All right, lovely. So we can. Yes, I think so. Remind me. Will you remind me, Prabhu, to see if we have some? I think we do. I think we have some.
And then he's asking what Ki Jai means.
Jai means victory.
And Ki?
Divine victory. So we're saying, let this be victorious over the world.
Okay.
All right, very good questions. Anything else?
And then we have the beautiful association of Vimak, Kṛṣṇa Prabhu, Divya Shakti Didi, and Sita Didi.
Jai.
And also Shwarnangi.
Swarnangi Didi. My goodness. What a wonderful assembly we get to.
What an assembly.
We get to be a part of. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Jai.
Jai.
Jai Gurudev. Jai.